Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Bugonia. Bugonia is a 2025 sci-fi slash thriller directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. I hope I pronounced that right. I think other places they label this as a comedy. I don't think that this is a comedy, so ignore the comedy tags. This is more of a sci-fi thriller. Yorgos has done a lot of movies, and a lot of them are just as weird and niche as this one. So if you haven't heard of this guy, he's probably a hidden gem kind of director, starring Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, and Aidan Delbus. Emma Stone is from Cruella, La La Land, and Amazing Spider-Man. Jesse Plemons, I know from Breaking Bad and Black Mirror. And Aidan Delbus, well, surprise, this is his first movie, his debut, and he did great, but I'll get onto that later. So what's the movie about? We follow cousins Teddy and Don as they go about their day. Teddy works at a big corporation doing, packing and shipments. And Don, I guess he doesn't have a job, he just chills at home. Don is autistic, so it must be hard to get a job anyway, Teddy is teaching Don about life, and specifically selling him a bunch of crazy conspiracy theories about the government. So the moon landing, flat earth, along those lines. So the movie progresses, and Teddy and Don kidnap Michelle, a popular and successful businesswoman in charge of a major corporation. Once Michelle wakes up in their basement, Teddy explains to her that they believe she's an alien come to take over the planet. And so begins a lot of dialogue and scenes where Michelle starts out surprisingly calm and confident, and slowly gets more scared and desperate as time goes on. Teddy described how her kind killed his family, friends, and co-workers. So he's not only serious enough to kidnap people for his delusions, but also torture and probably kill them. Which he does. He absolutely does torture Michelle. He uses an electroshock device on her with dangerous amounts of voltage. Can I just comment that I think this amount of voltage would kill her, but more onto that later. There are a few flashbacks here and there, but I won't get into too much detail to spoil all the fun. And trust me, there's so much fun. After miraculously surviving that torture, Teddy believes that she is the alien queen. Of course, that makes total sense. There is a cop that comes over to investigate the house. Also won't get into too much detail there, but it is very intense. Overall, it's a crazy scene that kind of steamrolls into the ending. Eventually, Teddy brings Michelle back to her office building at the major corporation. He keeps telling her to contact the other aliens and call off the invasion. By the way, Teddy is strapped with explosives and brought a shotgun with him, just to reiterate how insane he is, if you guys forgot. Long story short, Michelle started playing along at some point and says he needs to get inside of her closet to warp up into the spaceship. He gets in and unfortunately blows himself up. I think paramedics later said it was the friction of the homemade explosives, whatever. Though through all the commotion, Michelle also goes back, gets into the closet, now filled with all sorts of blood and guts thanks to Teddy, and warps inside of a spaceship. Now we see her and other aliens talk in their alien language about Earth and decide to kill all humans, and so they do. And there's a quick montage of a bunch of dead humans with some happy music, and that's the end. So this movie left me with my head in my hands, not only at the ending, but at many points. I'm like, what? All the time. From the moment Michelle gets kidnapped, the tension is always high. Teddy is on the verge of a mental breakdown if she says the wrong things and is more than willing to kill her, as we see later, not spoiling anything. I think this movie is a scary lesson that mental health is very important. This can happen to anyone. Someone thinks that you're an alien and kidnaps you. If someone is insane, that can absolutely think that, and you can't convince them otherwise. Teddy also goes to work like a normal person, talks to his co-workers like a normal person, and convinces the cop he's not shady, all of those things. But in his basement, he has a torture chamber. His mom was more insane than him, as we see in the flashbacks, and probably passed down her mental sickness to him. Teddy is taking advantage of Dom. They're both chemically castrated, for crying out loud. Dom actually told him once, quote, "I wish I could fix what's been done to you," end quote. Poor Michelle, next to these two, is trying to talk her way out of being kidnapped and murdered. Sometimes she says, "Please, I'm not an alien." Other times, "Yes, I am an alien. Just don't hurt me." It's a roller coaster, and edge your seat the whole way through. During the end, she finds notes on aliens Teddy has researched. She puts on a charade explaining how her alien species has taken over and wants to save humanity. And that leads to the ending where she warps up to a spaceship with other aliens. So was Teddy right? And was Michelle an alien all along? or is Teddy just insane? I mean, she survived the electrocution, didn't she? You could argue either side. I have a theory that everything after Teddy dies is actually in his head. Long story short, decapitated heads are still conscious for a few seconds before they die. So Teddy's decapitated head could have imagined her going into the closet, beaming up into the spaceship to destroy humanity. I say this because if Michelle was actually an alien, she did admit to him that her kind actually wants to save humanity. So why would she still kill them? But I digress. So not only is the direct story very tense and exciting, but rewatching the movie with the other take on Michelle in mind makes it so interesting. Moving on past the story, the acting was obviously incredible. Big shout out to Aidan Delbus for his first movie. Incredible. And obviously everyone else, they did great. I must say, I just can't read Michelle's expressions sometimes. It's so cool. The shots and compositions were really great too. Many scenes are just sitting and letting the scene play out without any movement, which helps the immersion. Let's say Teddy goes and yells in a car and gets out, and Dom goes to comfort him and they leave. It's like a long scene, uncut, and it works. The music in this movie is insane. Way better than I could have imagined. Teddy just walks from the beehive to the house and the music starts kicking up like crazy and it feels more intense. Maybe because we know that this guy's not normal. And the spaceship introduction had some menacing synths or whatever those things were. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So with all that being said, I give this movie a 10 out of 10. I recognize an amazing movie when I see it, okay? All across the board, everything was executed perfectly. The pacing, the suspense, the surprisingly deep characters, even the conspiracy theorists have something to pick apart, like the ending. I think this movie is really for everyone. Except kids. It's a dark movie with gore, so for everyone else, I highly recommend this movie. Side rant. Yes, I'm kind of behind on movies. I'm not sure where I am in the process. I think I might get an editor to help me, or I might just do it myself. It's like doing reviews is a weight lifted off my shoulders sometimes, and other times it's a real pain in the butt. But we'll see what happens when they happen. As long as I'm not strapped to a chair in a basement, I'm happy. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye.